Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Kate Marshall, the former lieutenant governor, running for Reno mayor. Here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Ring in the new year with newfound cash during the New Year Cash Extravaganza only at the Carson Valley Inn. Win up to $7,500 in giveaways every week. Then win big with $10,000 in cash and free play during the grand prize party January 31st. Start 2026 with a bang only at the Carson Valley Inn.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome back to the program Kate Marshall. She is the former lieutenant governor of the great state of Nevada. It is a pleasure to have you back on the program.
Thank you. It's been a while.
It has been a while. You've been doing other. Let me go through the list of things you've been doing.
I appreciate you inviting me.
Absolutely. You were lieutenant governor during Steve Sisolak's time.
Yes.
2019 to 2021. You served one term there. You were state treasurer from 2007 through 2015, serving under both Jim Givens and Brian Sandoval.
Yes.
And you did at one point run against Mark Amadei for CD2, but that didn't work out so well. But then you were a White House senior advisor to governors from 2021 through 2023 under the Biden administration, advocating for Nevada at the federal level.
Well, and I'm still under Sandoval. I don't know if you know that, but I teach business law at the university. And so I still work for Governor Sandoval. And I have him come into my class. Every semester I have him come into the class and talk to the students about how it was for him growing up in Sparks and not really knowing anyone, and how he got ahead, which they love. It's lovely.
Does he talk about Bill Raggio during those discussions?
Well, he talks
that
about...
was certainly one of his mentors.
He talks about sheep.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not sure I want to go any further down that road. All right, you are running for mayor of Reno.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we've had really an extraordinary time. I moved to Reno in 1978. Barbara Bennett was the mayor back then.
Oh, yeah.
Then Pete Sferrazza. And then Jeff Griffin was the one that came in and was a remarkable fighter. First of all, in the campaign, which I thought was a wonderful campaign, he and Martha Gould had a non-aggression pact. And I thought that was one of the classiest campaigns I've ever seen. And it pretty much lasted, I would say, 95% of the way through the campaign. But Jeff was the one that, he was asking the questions of why are all the buildings on the river, the backs of their buildings are facing the river, not the fronts. And he pushed ahead for the development of the movie theaters downtown, which was really the start of major redevelopment down there beyond the casino industry that had really boomed in the late 70s. And pushed so hard for the train trench, along with Charles McNeely, who was the city manager. And then Bob Cashel came in, and he continued on that work. Not so much a fighter, more a schmoozer, but did a terrific job as the face of Reno and welcoming people. And now Hillary Sheevy has been there. It'll be 14 years at the end of this time, 12 years as mayor. And she's continued to be a good face for Reno. I think the development of Midtown, which was very organic, but has to be part of her success. As you look at running for this office, what are your thoughts of where Reno is going to be? Let's start with the next 4 years, but really the next 10 years.
Oh, thank you for asking me. Don't forget that Bob Cashel was also lieutenant governor.
Yes, he was.
Yes, so, and he has given me advice in the past on what I should do, which I have listened to carefully. Look, I think that at this point in Reno's history, this moment, it calls for a mayor who's experienced, ethical, and has the kind of leadership that knows how to get things done. I was your state treasurer. I was your lieutenant governor, and I worked in the White House. And in each of those jobs, kind of my mandate was to bring people together, to solve real problems with solutions, and doing that by pulling people into a room and getting to yes. And when you think about the mayor's office, that's where leadership matters the most. It's the first line and the last mile of just about every issue that is important to people's lives, whether it's housing, which I think you could talk to mayors across the country, and every single one of them will talk about housing, whether it's public safety, whether it's transportation, or whether it's affordability. And we're in a wonderful place in this town because it's gained national recognition. People want to come to Reno. They want to build their business here. They want to move here. They want to raise their families here. And it's a moment of optimism and excitement about the future, but it doesn't come without its challenges, right? And so you want a mayor who's going to have that vision, who's going to be able to pull the right people in the room so that we grow smart, we grow efficient, but we don't lose that Reno magic that got us here.
Right. Well, first of all, don't change the slogan from biggest little city.
I would never do that.
Let's just start there. All right. But share with me your vision. What do you see as the big picture? You know, a lot of people in the media have said that, you know, the gaming industry is no longer the industry that it was. But in reality, if you look at it, the failing properties failed, and the successful properties continue to grow. And now you have properties like the Atlantis and the Peppermill and the Grand Sierra Resort and the Row that are just booming. And so and then you've got billion-dollar investments from Jeff Jacobs over at the J Resort. You've got $1 billion investment at the Grand Sierra Resort. Do you see gaming as a major part of the continuation of the growth of Reno?
Gaming's always going to be a part of Nevada. When you named all these mayors, gaming was there, right? But it's not the only part of Nevada, and it's certainly the focus has to be on the people who live and work here. Whether they work in gaming or they work in something else, really the future of Nevada should be driven by the people who live here. And what are their needs and what's their focus? And so when you talk about vision, we need to talk about, if you have a family here, can you go to the park? Can you afford your house? Can you walk downtown? Can you enjoy the outdoors and all the wonderful assets we have? I told you I teach at UNR. I teach business law. And these are upper division business majors. And I want those kids I want them to stay here. I want them to get a job here. But when I listen to them, what I hear over and over again is, I can't afford to. And it hits you. I don't know how we say, focusing on the people here. I don't know how we say to a teacher, starting salary, low 40,000s. Listen, I really value you. You are important. I want you to teach our children. And at the same time, say to them, you're not going to be able to afford to live in the community you serve.
All right, so let me ask you this. What are your potential solutions to the cost of housing? Because we have a limited supply. The cost of building is very high. The profits are to be made in the mid-level and the upper level, not in the lower level. What's the solution? Is it less permitting? Is it less costs for the builders? What are the incentives you've seen in other places that you could apply to Reno?
Yeah, so I think going forward, every major development, every major effort we take is going to have to be a public-private partnership. You and I know that the federal government has kind of backed off on their investments in local communities. And our state is a very lean state. And so here in Reno, we're going to have to work together. We know that housing has to keep up with population growth. And I should start by telling you, we know that we have to build all types of housing. We tend to, whenever you're talking to someone, they tend to have a particular focus. Well, I want to talk about affordable housing, but then they don't talk about market rate housing. And we need all kinds of housing because we know that when a person is able to get into a home, that's stable. That's a lot of stability. We know that it generates wealth. We know that it eases the pressure across the board, and especially on the rental market. And so we know we want to build all types of housing. And I have to say, it's a personal issue for me. Growing up, every time the rent went up, we moved. And so by the time I was in 5th grade, I had lived in 4 different places, 4 different neighborhoods, 4 different schools. And so when someone says to me, I can't afford it, that's really, it hits me hard. And so I think when you talk about, well, how's it going to pencil out? And part of that is working on incentives. We can streamline permitting and we can speed up permitting and the requirements without degrading the quality and the oversight. What I've seen other communities do, other communities have taken 40, 50 building templates and pre-approved them. And so if you're a smaller developer and you want to build some homes, if you choose that type of home, it's already approved. And they're pre-approved by the neighborhoods because we're talking about housing now, but if I'm talking to an individual, they're talking about their home. They're talking about, where do I go to the grocery store? Where do my kids go to school? Can I walk in that neighborhood? Where's the playground? So they're talking about a home. So you want your housing to fit with the unique needs of the neighborhood. So that's something that some communities are doing. I went to Boise last summer and I met with the mayor there. And I also met with the person who was doing Harrah's. And I talked to them about where are we similar and where are we different? And what works here, and why might it work in Reno, why might it not work in Reno? And one of the things they talked about was using land, and you see this in more than one community, identifying publicly owned land and determining whether it's useful for housing And that creates that public-private partnership that starts to pencil out what you're talking about.
Okay, so you're talking about essentially selling off. No.
Careful. Sometimes it's leasing.
Okay.
And you see Sandoval doing that, right? It's not selling. Sometimes it's leasing. And the reason is because when you're talking about housing and what the needs are of this community, the city needs to provide some guideline and guardrails on that.
All right. So you're suggesting that land that the city already owns can be used for housing, but you would be in favor of leasing that land rather than selling that land.
So what I've seen in other communities is they've gone out and they've said, let's identify whether we have land that can be used for housing. That's the first step. And then they've leased that to developers and in return said, okay, 10% of this is going to be affordable. That's the template I've seen in other communities. But before you get to that point, you have to look at the land you have and say, would it be available for
All
this?
right. And have you done so?
Have I looked at
where the
so this is what I think the city needs to do. They need to look at all the land they have, and then they need to say, okay, let's have our engineers come in and say, would this area be available for development?
What would you be in favor of? Would you be in favor of horizontal development or vertical development? Because that's what we hear so much when we're talking about Las Vegas is that they want to see vertical from a lot of the commissioners, for example, rather than horizontal. And Dina Titus has talked about this forever.
Don't you think that depends on where you are?
Absolutely.
And the specifics of the property? So, I mean, if you're in Old Southwest, right? And all the homes are 1- and 2-story homes, it probably doesn't suit to build a 10-story apartment building, right?
No, but you've looked at Park Lane Mall
Yeah.
and the redevelopment into the Red District there.
Right.
You look at downtown Sparks and the redevelopment there, and it's all vertical, and it's brought in a phenomenal amount of homes.
So,
at the same time, it's also generated business for the businesses that are around there. It's been a win-win, it seems.
right. So creating those ecosystems.
So you're good with that.
Creating those ecosystems is critical, and development is a powerful tool to kind of push your economic engine. The question becomes, we know how important development is. The question becomes, were the promises made kept? And how do you ensure that? And part of the way you ensure that is you get things in writing. You make sure that there's reporting and accountability measures.
And clawbacks.
And clawbacks.
Yeah.
And then what you don't want is you don't want all these promises made, looks very, very pretty on the front end. And then they're not kept, the timelines aren't met, the community benefits aren't held up, the promises aren't there, but the only entity that's holding up their side of the bargain is the taxpayer. And so what you have to do is you have to encourage and work with to get these developments, right? They're so important and they're so wonderful for our community, but it's all in the details. And you have to make sure it's in writing.
All right, absolutely. Let's take a break. More with Kate Marshall, running for mayor of Reno after this time out. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
The new year is bringing new ways to win big during the $175,000 Winter Wonderland giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Win up to $5,000 in cash every week and a top prize of $20,000 in cash during the grand finale drawing. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans. Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Kate Marshall. She's the former lieutenant governor of the great state of Nevada, now running for Reno mayor. One of the issues that you're running on is fiscal discipline. And one of the issues for all of the local governments across the state is lack of money coming in to be able to fund what we have now, let alone what we need for the future. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think the last report we heard for the city of Reno was a $26 million fiscal hole. And I think we've had, for 3 years running now, they've had these challenges. Those are serious numbers. I have to tell you, as state treasurer, I have a lot of experience balancing budgets in tough times. One of the first things I did when I became treasurer was I called for an audit. And we found no bid contracts. We found off-book accounts. I shut those practices down and pulled over $6 million back into the state's coffers that the legislature didn't know they had. That's the kind of accountability I'll bring to City Hall.
All right, let's take another break and we'll come right back.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Kate Marshall. She's the former lieutenant governor of the great state of Nevada, running for Reno mayor. So I want to go back to what I started out with, which was your vision that you're looking at over the next 4 years, but with a pathway beyond that. What do you envision Reno looking like?
I envision the arts being a permanent part of Reno. Not just when you have a festival, right? But we have a river running through it. And so outdoor recreation is critical, and it's also near and dear to my heart because when I was lieutenant governor, I created the Office of Outdoor Recreation.
Right.
So I just think we have, one of the reasons people want to come here is because it's a place where you have access to the outdoors. But I also think it's a place where we have incredible arts, and that should be a permanent place where people can walk and enjoy and participate in. Think about the Lear Theater. I was this weekend, they had a presentation down at the McKinley Arts Center. And I was so glad to see the participation. About 80 people were there and another 50 online. And the Lear Theater is kind of, it's symbolic of our downtown and symbolic of the kind of lack of vision and lack of moving forward that we've had. And meanwhile, its character, its history, it should be a centerpiece of our downtown. And so when I think about our community going forward, I think about access to the outdoors. I think about the uniqueness of each neighborhood that we have. And I think about the arts.
And that's where we have to leave it. It's going to be an interesting campaign as we follow this throughout 2026. We wish you well on the campaign trail and look forward to you coming back. And when it comes time for debates, we hope you'll do that right here.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
You're in trouble with the law. It's easy to think you'll lose everything, but there is hope. I'm Attorney Orrin Johnson. Your first step is to hire a serious attorney with the experience to successfully navigate the legal system for you.
Sometimes hope means addiction treatment instead of jail, and making sure you're treated fairly.
Sometimes hope means fearless trial attorneys will stand up to the government when they get it wrong. Call or text Orrin Johnson Law.
We'll make a plan.
You'll take back your life.
It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
Check out our archives section on NevadaNewsmakers.com. Great interviews going back as far as 2002. Really worth watching. We'll see you on the next one.